morning, folks. Well, if you're in the UK, it's definitely morning. How is everybody feeling today? I hope you're all good. Hoping everybody can hear me. If you can pop a yes, you can hear me and you can see me in the chat. Perfect. Thank you, Carl, for putting a thumbs up. Perfect, Ribka. Wonderful. Okay. I'm going to hide the chat comments during this presentation. And first off, I'm going to apologise because during this presentation, I'm going to be talking about the unconscious use of hands. So I am going to purposefully not be using my hands during this presentation, which makes it one of the less easy presentation topics to do when you're a natural hand talker. It's also really nerve-wracking being in front of a screen talking to all of you. So firstly, thank you all for attending. I'm really looking forward to presenting this topic on the unconscious use of hands. I do have a couple of notes as I go through. So if you see me looking down like this, I'm just referring to some notes. So let me just give you a little bit of background about myself. I'm Michelle. I'm the founder of the Tech Leader Network, and I'm helping 350,000 tech leaders over the next 10 years to get to where they want to be, is probably one of the best ways to say it. So let me tell you why I chose this topic of the unconscious use of hands and what happens when you misutilize your hands during a presentation. And I'll demonstrate this later on for you. So have you ever watched a movie or a video on YouTube? This is my favorite thing to do at the moment, is watch a video on YouTube and you watch the hands go off all over the place and you put it on mute and you think it's something funny and then you take it off. And actually it isn't something funny at all. It's actually something quite serious. And yesterday, Sharon McLeod did a presentation on executive presence, and she used a video for who was it for? The Stark County Commissioner. And he utilised one of the hand patterns we're going to show shortly. But it made his whole presentation look as if he was angry. But actually, his message was actually quite serious. And if you'd have read it in a written way, as Sharon said, it would have seemed absolutely perfect. So that was a great example that was displayed the other day. So where do these hand movements come from? So why hand movements? Let me just step back a second. So hand movements, as we've said, is 7% words, 38% tonality, and over 50% is about body language. So it's really important that you utilise all of the methods of communication available to you. And I'm talking about hand messages, as it were, is a new phrase that's just popped in my head. And it's come from a lady called Virginia Satir. Now, Virginia Satir was a family therapist. She was internationally renowned, and she observed and worked with various families and observed their communication patterns. And she identified that there were 5 hand movements that really got the communication across really, really well. Now, 4 of those hand movements are responsible for conflict, and 1 is for bringing people together. And we're going to talk about those 4 that you're going to want to lose, particularly if you're in a meeting at work, and the 1 to keep when you're wanting to get your message across, particularly if you've got any of those mansplainers that go along and try and get over everything that you say. So I'm going to talk about the first one then. The first one is the plicator. I'm probably rattling through these really, really quickly, and I haven't put a timer on. But we're 5 minutes in, so that's good. Well, 4 minutes in. So the first one is the plicator. Now, this is a non-assertive hand movement, and I'll demonstrate this for you shortly after I've gone through what they are. Now, the plicator, you'll have to see if any of these resonate as well with you shortly as well, this is probably one of the biggest ones that are a problem for women. We have a natural tendency to do this, and that is to put our hands up when we're talking. And this is also a biggie when we are trying to get our messages across, because we're effectively saying, please will you listen to me, and please will you like me, please accept my message, those kind of things. So placators, they're out to please, they're non-assertive, and they never disagree with others. They're always seeking approval and they avoid conflict. Their main concern is how other people perceive them. So that's the side that you really want to be avoiding when you're in a meeting trying to present a proposal, or you are troubleshooting and taking the lead on a major incident, for example, or coming up with in front of a customer, even if you're sitting there presenting why your stats are particularly low that month. You don't want them to be pleading with you. You want to be giving them the assurance that they're going to get the actions that they need. So the flip side of this, though, is it's very, very useful for when you are welcoming people or obtaining buy-in. So you would need to use it sparingly. Okay. So the next one that I have for you is the blamer. Now, the blamer is also one of the hand movements that cause conflict, and these people are always finding fault. If you find people that utilize these all the time, sit and observe their behavior while they're talking and communicating with people, and then afterwards, and just listen to the words that they're saying, because you'll find this pattern falls a lot. So they never accept responsibility for themselves. They're always blaming someone or something else. The blamer is actually hiding behind a feeling of alienation and loneliness behind a tough and complacent mask. Blamers also are more likely to initiate conflict, and you'll see why shortly. And I'm going to apologize now that I'm going to have to do this to you, but you will certainly feel an emotional response. Now, again, everything has a flip side, so no way of communicating is absolutely wrong. This is just a presentation for those of you that are joining us of hand movements to avoid during meetings and to utilize during meetings. So with the blamer, as I say, it certainly invokes an emotional response, so you would need to use this sparsely. And politicians, go back to that flip side, so politicians will utilize this, and Hillary Clinton does this a lot, is you'll find her pointing and clapping at people to give them the assurances and welcome people and all the rest. But I'll show you that shortly when, again, I do the demonstration. So I'll show you both the what not to do in a meeting and how to utilize it correctly in a meeting, if that makes sense to you guys. So the third of the hand movements that you're going to want to avoid during a meeting, and again, this is the one that will instantly blow your credibility if you utilize it incorrectly. So distractors, they seek attention. It's the distractor hand gesture, obviously. So distractors, they seek attention to compensate for how their feelings of loneliness or inadequacy. So rather than a positive action, they will use a range of emotions from anger to guilt and to humour to either avoid an issue or manipulate how others feel. Now, clothing can also form a distractor, particularly if you're wearing asynchronous clothing in a meeting, because it can just distract. And this is one of the ones that a lot of people use in videos and TikToks that I was referring to earlier. So if you ever get lost in the YouTube vortex and watch people speak, again, turn off the sound and listen to them on mute, particularly when they're waving their arms around, and you'll observe the distract. And once you see it, you will be distracted by it. Now, the flip side of this is that comedians will utilize it when they're delivering jokes and punchlines. And again, when I do the demonstration very shortly for you, we will obviously cover how to utilize it if you are a comedian, but we'll cover that one later. So the fourth one that I want you to avoid, and it also comes with a tone of voice on this one, is the computer hand gesture. Now, this one is utilized by those kind of people who are very correct and proper, and they are the know-it-all. They display no emotion. They are the font of all knowledge. They are often masking a feeling of vulnerability. And again, they can be a firework of emotions inside, but they appear very calm and super rational on the outside. And again, they appear cold and unfeeling. So how to utilize the computer hand gesture, I'll be showing you very, very shortly. Now, in terms, as I just mentioned about the voice tonality, which again makes up 38% of the communication, computers talk, or people utilizing the computer, yes, the people that are using the computer are often talking in a monotonous voice as well. So they'll just keep droning on and on and on and on without any pattern or cadence or tonality changes in their voices. But generally, it's really useful to use for short bursts of time when you are conveying knowledge and facts about data. It shows that you know that you've got a handle on it. Now, the one that I really want you to utilize, and the one that we as women do not use as much as we should, is called the leveler. Now, this is the category, the communication category that brings people together. And with this hand gesture, you'll come across as on the level, centered and factual. You will appear assertive. These people that use leveler are mutual problem solvers. They like to work with others and they look for solutions. There are a few threats to self-esteem. It's nothing to worry about them, which is great. They have two words trying to come out in one go there. They have a conscious, positive intention behind everything they do, and they hold strong, positive beliefs about themselves and others. They operate from strong personal values and have flexibility of behavior when communicating with others. Now, I'm absolutely certain that is one that we would all like to be able to display in our communication method. So if it's all right with you, I'll demonstrate these for you now. Just checking on the time, 10 minutes to go. Perfect. So I'm going to step back. Okay. So if we do them in the order that we had, so let me just check. We had got the placator, the blamer, the distractor, the computer, and the leveler. So the first one, and this is the one that we as ladies do most often, is the placator. So as you can see, my palms are up. I'm literally saying, please, sir, I want some more. Now, usually as well with this hand movement, when we're pleading with people, it's please like me, and our voices are much higher up in our throat. Now, if you're presenting and you're saying, let's work together on this, it's going to be like, please, will you work with me? Okay, so I'm going to use that as our message for the day. Let's work. What was the message? Oh, crikey, I've forgotten, Michelle. Where was it? It was, can we get let's get a meeting for this. So let's get a meeting together so that we can solve this problem. It doesn't come across as I know what I'm doing. I've even put myself off now. Great. So yes, please keep your palms. Stop that when you're in a meeting because people just won't use it. Now, if you are welcoming people into the room, for example, if you are going to a meeting and you are welcoming people in and you're like, hi, how are you doing? Great to be here. Absolutely use your palms up. But when you are delivering your presentation, keep your hands from being palm up because it will not help you unless you are asking, can you give me a like in the chat? Give me a like, give me a thumbs up. That will be fine. So the next one is the blamer. And I want you just to notice the internal response you get on this, the emotion. So if I was to say, using the message of, let's have a meeting on, let's get a meeting together on this. Let's get a meeting together on this. I'm sure that probably woke you all up, and I do apologize because now, how did that make you feel? Because if you go around using the blamer, you see people pointing at each other, and you just blame people. I'll do it sideways on because I really do not want to do this to you. But your foot is going to be forward. You can't see because I've got a bookcase behind me. Your foot is slightly forward, and you would lean into it, and that is how you would do a proper blamer. And again, with your voice projection, you would push that voice projection right down into your root chakra region because it will carry much more raw power from there. So the blamer, as I mentioned, is utilised by politicians. So what will happen is, and again, I'll do it sideways on, and this way you would leave it slightly leant back, you can utilize this if you're giving people praise in a meeting. So you have done a fantastic job, and you would utilize it in a different way. However, during a general meeting, generally do not point at people, and certainly leaning forward, because it comes across very, very aggressive, and you'll put people into an internal state that they do not want to be in when they join a meeting. Now, the third one, and this is the one that I mentioned when you're doing live videos, and this is the one why I'm desperately or keeping my hands firmly down to my side, because although there is a safe zone of hand movements, which is here, what you will often find is if people start talking around and they're moving and they're doing this, it gets really, really distracted to each other, and they're not clean and clear with the movements. So if you're doing this in a meeting, or look at the flip chart, look at the board, oh, my hair's behind my ears, whatever it is, it gets really distracting. And again, a great one to observe this behavior in play is watching videos with the sound off. Now, the flip side, as we say, there's always two sides of every hand gesture, and utilizing the context. The distractor in a comedian, if any of you are comedians, the distractor, how to utilize it there, is when you were telling the punchline to a joke. I'm sorry, I am really rubbish at telling jokes, so I can't tell one for you. But when you were delivering the punchline, you'll see them all the time. You've got people going, ta-da, and making people laugh. Or the other one is just like when you're watching a movie, and Tony Stark does this, for example, in The Avengers, as he's thinking. It gives that humorous kind of feel to it. See, I've just moved my hands, very distracting, really shouldn't do it. So that's how to utilize the distractor. Now, the flip side, again, not the flip side, the next of the four was the computer. Now, to utilize the computer, you're going to just get your fingers in an L, and you're going to put it as if you're there. You're going to put your other arm underneath, and then you just utilize your voice and talk monotonously. And you're just going to relay the facts, because there is nothing more important than the facts. And just go on and on. And once you have delivered your data, you utilize your hands and put them back down. Now, if I was to deliver the whole presentation, or the whole of that section about Virginia Satir that I spoke about at the beginning, or the or the high level facts about each of the communication categories as well, you would all be bored to death and fast asleep by now. So you don't utilize it for the whole of the meeting. You would use it purely to display the facts, to say that your SLA is at 98% for the month, and that'll be perfectly fine. Where you're talking data and you want to appear knowledgeable and that you've got your finger on the pulse, that'll be the one to utilize, but do not use it all the time. Now, the one that we really want to utilize as women, particularly when we're presenting and utilizing a proposal, is the leveler. Okay, and this is really simple, and I want you all, if possible, stand up or copy along as I do this one. What you need to do is bring your hands up. I'll step back slightly. You push your arms down and out as you underline the point. So if I was to say, let's get a meeting together, it's really important, or anything like that, where you want to gain the buy-in, when you're delivering your key points in a message. So the key points that are really important to take away, that is the hand gesture to move. You'll notice that your hands are palm down. You are not accepting or pleading with people to listen to you. You are telling them how it's going to be. And that is the leveler. This is the one that brings people together. So when you're looking to solve a problem, that's the one to use. So those are the four. Now, some things to utilize. I think I've just got 1 minute left. Would be incongruent behavior, but I think I've enjoyed doing that too much on the presentation, so I absolutely apologize. But if any of you've got any questions, please do ask. And if you want, visit me in the booths. I'm over at the Tech Leader Network. I'll be there for the rest of the day. And have a great day, guys. I hope they found that most useful. And again, please reach out if you want any further information. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the lovely comments as well. This is lovely. This is a genuine hand movement bonus. Empathy. Love it. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. I really hope you found that useful. Go and practice. Watch YouTube with the sound off and just see the differences in behaviour that you get. So I hope you found that most useful. And thank you and bye.